Hi, Caleb with Brownells here, and in today's video we're going to be going through a bunch of the new stocks from A3 Tactical. So I'm going to go ahead and unbox them, lay them all out here, and then we'll go over how to install them. So if you're here just trying to figure out how to install it, just skip forward in the video and you don't have to listen to most of my nonsense. You'll still have to get some of it though. Alright, so let's jump right into it and I'll just unbox some of these. Alright, so this one here, I'm just going to lay them all out and we'll go from there. And this one is the Skele Stock in 9.5 inch. That's a fun name. This one I have yet to open, so we're just going to bust it open real quick here. And try not to cut myself and bleed on camera. And this is, alright, so this is the same exact stock. It's just the 11-inch version, so you can get them in different lengths as well. All of these will mount to a 1913 style interface, so that's why we have our BRN 180 up here. Yeah, so same exact thing, just a little bit longer. And I'll play with them a little bit so you can see here shortly. And fortunate, they all have the same hinge on them, so all of the mounting hardware is exactly the same. So this one's kind of cool. This one is the triangular one. So you get more of that like triangular, like AK-74U type setup there, which is pretty neat. And it comes with a butt pad and cheek piece. So you don't, obviously with this one you don't have to install the butt pad. This is aluminum and it's nice and serrated on the back, but it does come with a rubber butt pad and a polymer cheek piece. And both of them just thread right into it. Which is pretty handy. I'll leave that right there because we may actually put some of that on if we go with one of these. Alright, and this one... Alright, so I said this one was aluminum, right? This is the same exact stock, but in polymer. So I think this is made out of like a Zytel, like high-impact type polymer. Same situation, you can add a rubber butt pad to it and cheek piece. But this one is just over 2 ounces lighter than its aluminum version. So if you just want to go with a lighter build or just save a few bucks, you can go with the polymer one. And that's a pretty good option. Alright. I keep saying that's a pretty good option. I mean, all of these are a pretty good option. This one is a modular stock. So this will be different from the two we just mentioned here. Alright, yeah, so this one here, we'll just set that stuff aside. This one uses a bar type design here, so just straight back, and it comes with this butt pad right here, but you can buy a bunch of different versions of said butt pad to install, so that's why it's the modular stock, because they make a bunch of different pads for this. And I'll just set that there again and continue my stack of boxes. And this is another modular stock. So the one I just opened was an 8.625 inch. And if you need something a little bit shorter, this one is a 7 point something. I didn't read the box well. 7.75 inch. So all these different stocks, you got 3 different flavors here, and then they come in different lengths. So let's go over how to install them. They all install the same exact way. We just need to figure out which one we want to go with. And I didn't pre-plan this before we started the video. I don't know which one I'm going to do. I think I'm going to do the triangle. And with that, actually, let's see here. Which one? I think I'm going to go with the longest because of the optic on this one. So we'll actually go with this guy right here. Alright, so this one is the Skele Stock, and this is the 11-inch version. So we're going to go with this. That'll give us about the right length of pull and eye relief and everything for what we have. Alright, so I'm just going to slide all this stuff down. And close this, and I'll just grab the hardware for it real quick. I'll clean that up later, I promise. Alright, so I'll just pull everything else out the box here. Alright, so you have a QD sling swivel stud, and that'll mount either here, opposite side, or of course in the back. These have QD mount options, except for the modular one. It does not come with the QD stud. Okay, so let me put up my knife here before I cut myself. Alright, and we'll set the QD stud aside. We'll mount it in a little bit here just so you can see how it goes on. Alright, so it comes with, let me tear this stuff open like an animal. Alright, comes with a little Allen wrench here. I brought my own, but I guess we'll use that one, sure. Alright, you got some Vibratite, which you just put on the threads. You watch me do this all the time, and I never use the stuff. I'm not going to use it now, but just know it is an option. And you have your destructions here that talk about everything. So the hinge itself is machined out of steel, where this is aluminum. And let's just bust this piece up. We don't need that card. This is what we need right here, the small one. All right, so it comes with this little block right here. So what this does and how this mounts, so we'll dump the block out. So all you need, all the hardware you need, or all the hardware that comes with it, your Allen wrench, this little rectangular block, and there are screws pre-installed on your hinge mechanism. So what we'll need to do is, on the 2 screws that are installed on there, we're just going to back those out. You don't need to take them all the way out. We're just going to back them out. And if you want to put the Vibratite on them, just take them all the way out, dip them in the Vibratite, put them back in. Okay, so we need to determine where on the rail we want to mount this stock. Now if you notice, there's no side screws that like clamp the 1913 rail like on a traditional, pretty much almost any other manufacturers that do this. So what we'll do is we'll slide it on, determine where we want it, and I'm thinking probably I like it to be a little higher, especially since we're using a scope, so we'll say right there. And just make a note of which rail slot those screws line up with. So here's what's going to happen, and here's why you need to pay attention to that. All right. So the screws, and if you notice, there are 4 holes. You only need to use one set of them. You don't need to use all of them. That's why it only comes with 2 screws. Okay. That's just to give you options in alignment. All right. So this block is going to mount in whichever slot those screws line up with, once you determine that. And then when you tighten the screws go through, and they are going to tighten against this block, okay? So we're going to tighten this down, and instead of the screws digging into your aluminum, which nobody wants, they're going to press against this block. That's why that block's there. So all we need to do, slide it on. All right, line up our screws with said block, and I'm doing this so you can see it, but now I can't see, and it's a whole thing. All right, let me get alignment here, and then I'll show it to you again. All right, so I have one lined up there. Okay, and in general, if you look at the top of this cutout here, if you line that cutout up with the next recess in your 1913 rail, then the screws will line up with the one below it, if that makes sense. So if you just line up this top one, the bottom one will line up in the right spot. And we just tighten down the screws. Nice and snug. And if you want to use Vibratite, that's perfectly fine. We're just going to torque them down. Alright, and that's nice and solid, so it's not going anywhere. The hinge mechanism itself is pretty robust there. Yeah, that's So if you're running an optic and you're about as tall as me, I'm 6 foot, I got pretty long arms. This 11 inch is actually the perfect length of pull on this BRN 180 lower. So there it is. And to close it, which I haven't actually done yet. Yeah, okay, so what I do is I put my thumb on top to provide leverage and just lift up and fold, just like so. And that's how you install all of these stocks from A3 Tactical. Alright, with that being done, let's go ahead and install this QD swivel, because I use QD slings all the time. And I think I'm going to put mine in the back, but of course you can put it in the front. And I haven't done this yet, and I threw my instructions over there, so we're just gonna kind of wing it. Let's see how it goes. Alright, so as a primarily left-handed shooter, I would have my sling mounted up front, coming around to the opposite side of my butt pad. So I'm going to take my cup that the actual sling goes into. You know, one end of it is flat, right? So that's going to go against the stock. I'm just going to put that on the back on this side here. And then there is this nuts on the other side. And that is just going to go like so. And then the screw is going to go, let me take this off here. The screw is going to go through the cup. So you'll set the screw inside the cup. Threads will protrude, words are hard. Threads will protrude just like so. And I'm just going to use my same Allen wrench to hold it in place. Put the nut on the opposite side. And tighten it down. And alright, looking at this now here, just so you know, the included Allen wrench is the wrong size for the QD attachment. So it's a good thing I brought my own. Alright, I was not expecting that. That's why it's good to do this together. Alright, and we just snug it up. And again, you can use Vibratite on that as well. And that's how you install the QD swivel stud. So if you have any questions or comments, you're watching this on YouTube, feel free to post them down below. Like and subscribe for more content like this as always. And if you need any help, feel free to give us a call on the tech line. We'll be happy to help you out. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.